Hi everyone, welcome to this week. We're going to learn reflexive pronouns. Just to keep us consistent, I'm going to get rid of that. Alright. Okay, so we're going to review personal pronouns and then use that to transition into reflexive. So over here, alright, you have your personal pronouns, right? So I, you, he, she, it. Alright, we, you, they. Excuse me. And these should be familiar in terms of subjects of verbs, things like that, right? So basically when we get to reflexives, you're going to be dealing with this self suffix. All right, so most of the pronouns and selves in the plural, of course. Most of the pronouns are going to be similar. I changed to myself, but they're going to add that self suffix onto it. And that is the reflexive pronoun. And the important part about the reflexive is that it reflects on the subject. All right, and that's what we're going to be, focusing on. So if you think about looking in a mirror, right? I see myself. You see yourself. He sees himself. She sees herself. And so literally, right, there's the reflection, and that's what the reflexive pronoun does. It reflects on that subject. So the I and the myself, same people. The you and the yourself, same people. Person, I should say. The he and the himself, same person. The she and the herself, same person. The they and the themselves, same people. All right, so here are some examples, other examples, right? So he cut himself. She made herself. Parents often blame themselves. And the important part is that these two pronouns, refer to the same person, right? So parents often blame themselves. Parents often blame the parents, themselves. She made herself, right? Those are the same people. And that's what the reflexive does. So if you look at this bottom part, Agnes looked at herself, Agnes looked at her. All right, so Agnes looked at herself, same person, of course. All right, Agnes looked at her, different people. So the her is somebody else. The herself is Agnes. All right, so in Latin, all right, so your pronouns are going to be, your reflexive pronouns are going to be sui, sibi, se, say. And if you remember the personal pronouns, ego, me, mihi, me, tu, tui, tibi, te, te. This should look relatively familiar. You basically got S as your stem, and then that I in the genitive, the bi in the dative, and the E in the accusative and the ablative. There is no nominative for the reflexive because, of course, if it's reflexing on the subject, it can't actually be the subject. So there is no nominative form for the reflexive pronoun. All right? So he is contained in the pronoun. So he threw himself from the ship. And again, just like in English, as we talked about, the he and the himself are the same people. All right, so again, subject is contained in the verb. He calls Dumnorix to himself. All right. And it's interesting, the translation here, English kind of goes back and forth sometimes on whether to use the self form, strictly speaking, right? You might say to him. But it's still reflexive in form. I would actually probably say to himself. I think it works, such makes sense. All right, so this is a plural. Again, subject and the verb. They kept themselves in camp. All right, say is an alternate form of the accusative and the ablative. It just reduplicates the word, the form. All right, and then we go from there. All right, so here they are laid out a little more neatly than I wrote them. And then on the right-hand side here, you have a lot of things that I just talked about. You can read that if you want. Pause the video, check those out. But yeah, here are those forms. Oh, and I did forget to mention that the singular and the plural are the same forms. So there is no distinction in form. And back a slide. The sui, sibi, say is the third person reflexive. All right. So himself, herself, itself, themselves. Again, same in the singular and the plural. For the other persons, all right, you basically use the same form. So in other words, if I say, Wiedet me, she sees me, right, because the subject and the verb are different, me is a personal pronoun. If I say, Wideo me, I see myself, the may is reflexive because the subject and the object are the same, or the subject and the pronoun refer to the same person. So these forms are used for both personal and reflexive pronouns. For the reflexives, you won't have the nominative forms, of course, and you can see that down here. All right. But again, in those Latin examples, because in the first one the subject is different from the object, it's the personal pronoun. For the second one, because the subject and the object are the same, it's the reflexive pronoun. And really just context / that distinction is going to determine that. All right, this is second person. Same things apply in terms of personal versus reflexive and how you determine whether it's personal or reflexive. But the forms are the same for both the personal and the reflexive. All right, so let's just deal with some English first, right? So here we're just identifying the pronouns as personal versus reflexive. All right, so the old man sees them. All right, the easy way to go is just no self or selves in the plural suffix. So this is going to be a personal pronoun. It is accusative because it's receiving the action of the verb. And the Latin would be something like eos, hos, illos, something like that. Any of those will do. All right, and number 2, Dido kills herself because we have the self there. That's going to make it reflexive. It is also accusative, so it's going to be say. All right, now I'll leave you to do the rest. So as we've done in the previous weeks, pause if you want to. Here come the answers. All right, so there are the first 4 in terms of what they should be. All right, so here's a Latin example, a relatively easy Latin example. All right, you can see it down here. Okay, in terms of a little easier to read. All right, so sapientia is wisdom. So wisdom built, edificavit, perfect tense. So wisdom built a domum, a home, sibi, for itself. All right, and of course you're going to need to use the context to determine the gender for any of these pronouns, because in English, wisdom is a neuter noun. All right, that's going to make sibi itself. That's going to make sibi neuter. All right, and so, wisdom built a home for itself. All right, here's another one. This is Tulane. Non sibi said suis. All right, so this is no verb in the sentence, so not sort of a full sentence, but still you've got the reflexive pronoun, so not for oneself, all right, but for one's ex, associates, friends, whatever suis is going to be. All right, here's a text. All right, so identify the forms of ego in 2. First 4 lines, so mihi, all right, may, te, tua is technically the adjectival form, all right, but might work. All right, so identify their cases. Mihi, of course, is going to be dative. All right, may is going to be accusative. All right, te is going to be accusative. And then personal or reflexive. So that's going to depend entirely on the subject. Excuse me. So because the subject here is pater omnipotens, all right, may is going to be personal. All right, because the subject is violo, te is going to be personal as well. All right, it has everything to do with whether the subject and that pronoun are the same people. All right, and then we got 2 reflexive forms, last 2 lines. So sibi and secum. All right, secum is the ablative with cum, preposition cum, kind of attached. So sibi is, of course, going to be dative. Se is going to be ablative because of the cum. All right, and then we're just translating here. All right, so he who first joined personal me, all right, and then reflexive, dative, he who first joined me to himself, right, there's that self suffix for reflexive, took away my love, may he have my love with himself, again, reflexive, and this is where English might say with him, even though it's indicating the reflexive, and may he keep my love in his tomb. All right. So mayos and may, these are personal because they're not referring to the subject. All right, so let's take a look at week's summatives. So we're reading here. All right. So remember, read through the Latin, make some notes, mental notes for yourself. Interesting. Sorry about that. I was trying to move it over, and apparently I can do 2 dots. So Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, Septimus Atque Ultimus Regum. I'm going to try to hide that. I can't see part of my text because of some of the tools on the screen. Sorry about that. Let me pause for a moment. All right, sorry about that. It actually turns out I wasn't missing anything. So Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, Septimus Atque Ultimus Regum, Volscos Gentum, quae non longe aberbe est, vicet, cum Tuscis pacem fecit, et templum Ioes in Capitolio aedificavit. All right, somewhat of a long sentence. So remember, your best bet there is to sort of break it down. So Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, nominative, nominative, nominative with a conjunction in between. So all these things are going to go together. So Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, the 7th and last of the kings. Regum is genitive with that um ending. The 7th and last of the kings. Now, Volscos, accusative with that os. So can't keep going with that. We got to get the verb in there. So Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, the 7th and last of the kings, conquered, vicet, the Volsci. All right, a tribe or group which is not far from the city. All right, he made peace with the Tusci, and he built the temple of Jupiter on the Capitoline Hill. All right, so postea dum ardium oppugnat imperium perdidit. So afterwards, not after, afterwards, while he attacked Ardea, he lost power. All right, and I will let you pick it up from there. And lost power, of course, means lost control. Not like the electricity went out. No electricity. Couldn't resist. All right, writing, English to Latin. Okay. So we will find the boy who did this. All right. So, boy is the accusative. We is going to be the contained in the verb. So puerum qui hoc fecit. And then we will find in veni amos. All right. And I'll leave the rest to you. All right. So have a good week. I will be here next week. Email me if you have any questions. And thanks a lot.